Hey everyone, my name is Ryan and I am the creator of PWNs, a Game of Strategic Mayhem. I wanted to go over just a bit about the making of the game. A lot of creators do that and I was like, yeah, I could do that. It doesn't seem so hard. But yeah, PWNs was a game that I had the idea of when I was 13 years old, about 11 years ago or so, that was drastically different than what it is now, of course. Back then, I actually had to paint the board. I was going through a painting phase. I enjoyed it. Your characters, there were only like 1 HP on each of them. So it was a very quick 5-minute game, and it didn't play well. But I loved the idea, and I tabled that until I sold my business in 2014. A few months later, I had the idea, and in January of 2015, I brought it back. I looked at my old files and I started putting together a couple of things. The first thing I did was I slapped down every idea I had into a project document. It's about 12 pages long. This is draft 3 in March of 2015. I think I went through 8 or 10 drafts of this game. I went ahead and just looked at this, put down as many ideas as I could, and once I had a good idea of what I wanted in this game, I went ahead and I put together a prototype. This here is the very first PWNs board. Each square is about 2 inches by 2 inches. And you'll see there are 6 construction paper made terrain tiles. There wasn't ice until later, but I enjoyed that. So the board in the main game is actually not even going to be a board. We're not putting that in. It's just too big. Instead, they're going to make a puzzle frame that's going to fit easily into the box, and it's going to include a couple of different mega tiles. In this big guy, you had to put down 64 unique tiles. Like, you start with like 3 of them that are safe to walk on. But it took too long. It killed replayability. So, playtesting revealed in like August that these things were very much needed. These here are mega tiles. They're double-sided. Your game's going to come with 4 of them, and while they're flimsy right now, they will be made out of chipboard and fit inside of your puzzle frame very easily. Now, instead of laying out 64 tiles, you lay out 4 of these guys. I don't know why I'm putting it against this board. It's clearly not made for it. Anywho, a lot of guys, a lot of people that I talk to enjoy looking at the characters. There are 16 different characters in the game, and they started off, well, right now they're, a little bit expressive and all of that. There's 16 of them, and originally they looked like this. That's your starter. When I was just like 13 or something, they were just numbers. That's great. How do you get attached to numbers? How do you find numbers humorous or anything like that? So these guys had to go immediately. You were going to have like 6 or so of these guys per team, and that was already on a crowded board. So nixed that, and what we did instead, I made a template. I said, this is the kind of shape that I want all of the characters to fit into one way or another. So I printed out like 5 of these things. So there's 75 different ones in here. Some of them I messed up and started over, but like I just drew whatever came to mind. I'd see like selfie sticks were just coming out, so I was like, I think it'd be funny to make a guy with a selfie stick, and wouldn't you know it, he made the game pretty much. Like he's in it, but I made about, I want to say, a good 60 or so designs, and I cut it down to 24 characters, and I digitally drew them. You'll see a couple of them like that. That there's selfie. He did make the cut. All of them were put against a white and gray background for the sake of being able to print them out and then sort them. I just dropped a couple cards. Oh well. You sort them out into teams based on how many characters have an item in their hand, how many characters have a certain expression. I wanted to make a variety pretty much per team. But yeah, that's where we are now. Originally, I don't know if you saw it when I held up Smelly, originally I made these kinds of counters. I was stuck on this for a good like 6 months or something. I wanted it to be like all on the board, where you would be able to like there you go, like alternate the dial so you could see how much HP he has from both sides of the board. But two things. One, that was crazy expensive and unnecessary to do. And two, I was getting dangerously close to a patent. Chances are I wasn't gonna see any legal action, but you know, I just want to be safe on that one. What I had done is, in phase 2 of that idea, I had 3D printed things made. I would go ahead and have 2 different pieces, one fits into the other, and I would slap like some stickers on these. These are actual stickers that went on the first draft of these, but it just didn't work out. It was very expensive to prototype. It was very expensive on the quotes that I got from manufacturers. So I was like, there's got to be a better way. And wouldn't you know it, there was. So after I gave up on that whole thing, I went ahead and made character cards, which served a purpose for a couple of reasons. One, it's easier to track HP on this. You can actually see everyone side by side. Each of your characters gets one of these. You have 4 total in front of you, and you're able to track your HP. This is the first version of it, pretty much. Originally, you start at 4 HP, but you had cards that would increase the maximum to 6, but that didn't happen often enough. So this was ultimately like wasted space. And frankly, a lot of people, while they might enjoy a little bit of backstory, a lot of the gamers that played said that they enjoy playing games where all of the information that's given to them is relevant. So I took all of this out. I put it in the back of the rule book so you can dive in and learn a little bit about your team if you're interested. But the new version of the card looks more like this. So you have 4 HP. And you have effects. Effects are cool because this is now, I didn't have a great solution for this even though it was in the game, but now you put a little effect counter if you're like poisoned or constricted or something in that little slot. And once it's cured, you take it off. The other one here is a newer addition to the game. In this video, it's currently October 4th, 2016. As early as like February and March of this year, abilities weren't a thing of the game. People said, it's fun, but... So I went ahead and came up with, well, it's not a unique idea. I'm not pretending it is. But you've got a couple of different abilities that you'll start the game with. No character automatically starts with X ability. Each one does get one, but it's random. And that way you play a different type of game each time. I enjoyed that aspect. A lot of people were caught off guard with it. They say, oh, well, normally I start with something. And while they suggested that, they would also play the game and they're like, okay, yeah, that works. And I'm like, okay. So they start with one ability. They have a slot for the second one. If that character KOs another character, knocks them out pretty much, then they'll go ahead and get a second ability. To give you an idea on the cards of the game, like I showed you the prototype for this big board. I'm skipping ahead, but the board and the construction paper doesn't cost much. A lot of folks that I learned later, and I'm a fool for not doing this or thinking about it, what they will do when they're creating a prototype game that involves cards is they will buy a stack of like Magic the Gathering commons or something, like 100 for 50 cents or something simple like that. They'd buy card sleeves, and then they would print out their cards off their computer and fit them in, so you'd be able to like play with an actual deck without spending too much. Me, not so much. I actually spent money on a deck of cards. They accidentally printed it in color. I was prepared to highlight them all, but it was nice of them to do it. A lot of cases you're going to see, like with my original deck, they came with blank faces, so that way I could go ahead and draw what I wanted them to look like, and then digitally alter them on the computer. To give you an idea, even that has come a long way. I went through 8 or 10 drafts of the project document. I went through like 6 or so formatting changes on these cards. This here's one of them. This is the original gas canister, which then was updated digitally with rounded corners and everything, which then changed to the poison canister with a more simplistic formatting, which then was tweaked yet again to lighten the load on how much information is on there. I wanted to make it so that you could actually open your hand of 5 cards, and even if this is like your second time playing or first time playing, you could read them and comprehend them all in less than 30 seconds. That's very important to me. So it took a while, a lot of feedback. I thank everybody that was involved in that. Thank you. And that's pretty much how the cards came about. Like I said, I should have done that a lot more differently. This here is a bag of about 400 or 500 cards, and these are the cards that did not fit in this box. So, and yeah, these are actually full-fledged, like Pones, the Game of Strategic Mayhem cards, all separated. I think I've drawn about 150 cards. About 110 of them I've done digitally. Some will never see the light of day. Some maybe sometime soon. This one I'll give you some more information on later. But yeah, good stuff coming, guys. This year has just been a small look at the making of Pones, the Game of Strategic Mayhem. As of now, there's about 9 days left in the Kickstarter. And yeah, I'm really hoping that I can bring this game to your table. I've gotten a lot of great reviews, not just from actual reviewers, but from families that I've met at conventions who have come back and made an extra trip to my booth or table just to catch me before I left. So it really has been an amazing journey. Just creating something that people are enjoying. It really is a dream come true for me, as corny or cheesy as that sounds. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please go ahead and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and like us on Facebook. And don't forget to check out our Kickstarter campaign. Again, we're ending on October 14th. So stay tuned for other giveaways and other promotions that we'll be doing from now until then. But thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.